Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to join Finance Mandarin ESG Education in China. We particularly invite our VIP speaker, Alan Shen, to join our Inclusive Finance case study today. Alan is an expert for ESG education. He's originally from Beijing. So Helen, let's say hi to all our participants today. We have more than 300 participants sign up for today. And now it's also live broadcasting in LinkedIn and the other social media. Can you introduce yourself a little bit? And then I will try to ask people to join more. Alan?
Yeah, absolutely, no problem. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, VN Finance Mandarin, for having me here today. It's my great pleasure to contribute a little bit of my thoughts and observation based on my previous research and recent study in this area. I think it's a pretty hot topic, so I won't spend too much on the introduction of myself, and probably we're gonna start today's chart right now. Is that okay?
Of course, yes, we're going to start. At the same time, I know all the participants are joining one-to-one. And then if you just arrive in the LinkedIn and then in different Facebook, say your name and then say hi to everybody. And also you can list your question here immediately. And then before our rounding up, we'll try to cater for a couple of questions. And this time we hope to bring with you some real story. And as Alan is actually on the ground touching the poor village, and how can we see the local government and try to reduce the poverty and introduce an inclusive finance system to help people to reduce the pollution and then to liberate for the poverty. So today we have many good cases to start with, but we're going to actually try to find out is this three area here. What is the current situation of green finance in China, and what's the China heading in green finance? And then we have a case study for the Greater Bay Area that's in Guangdong province. So Helen, you just come back from the village. So what's your insight from that? You just come back from Guangdong province. There's a case that you want to share with us.
Right, absolutely, my pleasure. Yes, as Vian said, I just returned from a long business trip. We visit is a couple of provinces, but most recent one that we visited is Guangdong province. As people may be aware of that, generally speaking, Guangdong province is in a developed area from the economic aspect and facets, but actually there are still a lot of developing area or poor area, undeveloped area in the province. Especially there is a city named Qingyuan, which is not far from Guangzhou, the city of Guangzhou. And we visited there to actually to cover the midterm assessment for a project invited by the assigned and invited by the Ministry of Agriculture and the Rural Affairs, and it's all about the inclusive finance and poverty alleviation. And actually, in this city, there is a big change in between. As the audience, you may notice from this page that is coming from one of the video from the CCTV Central China television station, and it's talking about the story for the city of Qingyuan. So this city is well known because it is a distribution center for electronic garbage from overseas, not from China, not in me. And it does increase the economy in general, but it did create a lot of issues and problem. For example, it brings the contaminated water and soil, and also it gets the air pollution problem being more aware of from the provincial level as well. But nowadays, when we do the investigation there, We visited a local store, even a convenience store, and those small business local there, and we found that the the ecosystem for the local economy there is changing gradually. For example, lots of people are taking advantage of those not fertile soil, so they change the use of the land from those contaminated industry to more green business. For example, they grow the orchard there, and then they use the distribution network to send those flowers nationwide. So it's a big change. But what we can see and what we want to investigate behind the phenomena is all about, is there any change that is highly correlated with the impact investment or the green finance? That's the main focus from us. Leanne?
Yes, you're talking about actually those because it's polluted area, and then you get attention of the government. So they already try to fix these issues here. And then how can the government really pay a lot of attention and effort? How can they help those elderly person or those people young? They even can't access to the internet, even can't access to, like, it's popular to Ant Financial and Alipay and this kind of like P2P lending. How can the government try to help them? This is actually part of the very interesting story. We want to find it out. How could that be part of the inclusive finance?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So today, attributed to the time constraint, I may give a little bit touch underneath the surface of this issue. But in general, just for the respondents to just give the response to your question. So from the side of government, actually, they did a lot of work, especially homework on their side. For instance, so they introduce some of those big giants like Alibaba and Ant Finance, and right now it's called Ant Group, into those poor area, and they give the access for those data from the governments and bureaus to those financial institutions. By doing so, it is quite easy and efficient for those financial institutions to have the credit history for those small business owner, and which is called a lacking of the information and the credit history for the end users. Secondly, I would say it does cause a lot of issue from the perspective of divide, which is a pretty hot topic right now in China. Since actually there is a group of people when the whole society go directly to the aging population. So there are a big percentage of population, they are, but right now it is kind of a prerequisite for lots of people to access the financial system, changing from the unbankable to bankable. So that's the second significant point I gonna mention for this issue. But the better thing is that things is changing to the more positive side, and more like local governments, they are acting like a bridge from the commercial world to those undeveloped area. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. As you bring out to us, it's a bridge between the commercial and the government. And as we know that ESG policy is actually top down, we like to introduce to us is actually Xi Jinping's idea that you mentioned about the two mountains. How does it work and what does it mean? I think a lot of our participants would like to know more.
Yeah, I would say it's a very great saying. It's well said by the President Xi. And lots of people in the industry nowadays name it two mountains theory. Actually, I would say if you're gonna choose one of the sentences represents the whole industry of green finance, it kind of this sentence can be the slogan. I would say the green water and the green mountains are golden and silver mountains. So maybe there is a gap in between. I mean, between the Western world and Oriental world, because of we take more awareness on the wealth management side. We call it golden and silver mountains. Actually, it represents the opportunity and the potential of economic development, actually.
Well said, well said. So the green finance
from
policy,
top down,
yeah.
So, yeah.
Good, good. So I just reiterate
right.
what you just say. It's a green finance policy is top down, is from China. So Xi Jinping said these phrases, 绿水青山就是金山银山. So you even translate and make it not just literate translate, not just green water and green mountains are golden and silver mountain. Actually, you even to articulate to mention about it, that gold and silver are not just commercial, but actually the long term and the the long-term perspective. Exactly. Yeah, so very good to point. Otherwise, people were just thinking about commercial. It's actually talking about long-term. It's a green for long-term. So this is a top-down policy. How about you also gave this one is from PBOC. Can you explain a little bit more from the PBOC governor?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no problem. My pleasure. Actually, this piece of screenshot is coming more fresh. It was presented and released on August 21st this year. And Chen Yulu, most of people in finance industry may know this person is a vice governor of PBOC, and actually, this guy is the one of the advocator for the foundation of the NGO that I'm working in. And he said so to the Financial Times about the green finance. It mentioned a new concept, which is green development. Actually, I did lots of research about is there any like content, is there any like context around this concept? So it kind of directs the whole industry, especially for those rating companies and corporations, to getting involved, to give the measurements from the very beginning of a business started up, and to the middle term, and to whenever it goes to the market or get listed, it should be like transparent to the public, especially for the measurement of their green action and their green behavior. Is there any green development? We're gonna have a more mutual like agreement from the whole industry for that. So
well said. Yeah,
that's a new signal from the top. Yeah.
Well said. Yeah, just like if you mentioned about PBOC is also is starting from the highest finance regulator, is from the central bank. Alan, you just also mentioned about quite a lot of international standard or rating agencies. Like we invite lots of speaker participants today from MSCI, Bloomberg, and or other rating agencies, Standard & Poor's and Moody's. They all really have done a lot of research and set up for different kind of rating for this. Even Hong Kong's stock exchange is now also actively promoting for this kind of rating and set up a huge database for the bond finance status. Thank you for sharing this with us. So we know that it's actually, again, it's top down from PBOC for different kind of bond finance and bond structures products. And also, as you are from Beijing, and you also sent us this good idea is talking about the Beijing mayor, Chen Jining. So tell us a little bit about him and what his initiatives, and try to make Beijing become the first international city to Beijing for the green finance exchange square. Alan. Alan. Alan, can you tell more about the mayor of Beijing? Hello, Alan. Alan, your speakerphone is off. So when we're waiting for Alan to coming back, it's actually, this is the information and research and provided by our VIP speaker. He introduced to us the Beijing mayor, Chen Jiling. He actually previously is like the Minister of Environmental Protection. So now he is a mayor in Beijing. So he's actively promoting the idea of green finance and set up the first green finance exchange square in Beijing. Alan, are you back? Alan?
Hi.
I know you. I know you're in Beijing.
Sorry,
the internet.
I just forgot to unmute myself.
No problem at all.
Right.
Can you introduce a little bit about more like Beijing mayor? Because like you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Go ahead, Alan. Go ahead. I think it's now the current status and the data information using Zoom in Beijing, because Zoom already left the retail market in China. So here, I give you extra information here is like Beijing is actively trying to build up the green finance stock exchange. And it's actually is one of the international icons of China in high quality development. And also one of the pillar of green development, recovery in the post-COVID-19 pandemic. So this is like the huge opportunities. And also this is what the way is a demonstration, is a benchmark for other cities in China to follow up. Alan? Alan, you're back. Hello, Alan. I apologize for people is watching at this moment. And this is something unexpected. Alan, how are you? Yes, we can hear from you. So let's move on to another case that you suggest to us is like the message from CBIRC, Yinbao Jianhui, which is a finance regulators for banking and finance institutions in China, and any insurance or banking institution would like to get the license into China. CBIRC also playing very important role. Remember that time when the pork pricing is so high, and then actually CBIRC and the Ministry of Agriculture work together, try to stabilize for the pricing of the pork, the pig meat. Hello, Alan. So it's also sending out a very clear message. Stabilize for the CPI, for the pricing of our people's livelihood, the pricing of basic supply is very important. It's not only for commercial purpose, it's for stabilize. We're talking about 6 stabilize. And this is like the whole country's essential policies, the top down. And all the different SOE is follow for this criteria. So the pricing for agricultural product is also set.
Yeah.
Hello, hi. Hello. Good to coming back. You would like to add more information in the Beijing situation, because you are there. You know a lot about the initiative from the local government. Hello, Ellen. Yeah, during this time, and I would like to get you a little bit extra information what Alan has done, and then so we'll bring up for this topic here. He did the research in Guangdong province and find out this kind of polluted area. Why it's so polluted? Because like 20 years ago, the village is so poor. So the government and some people accept to receive all the rubbish from overseas, including all the unused computers, electronic product, all the waste. They can dump into this area called Qingyuan. So everybody can know one single battery, if sub into the sink into the soil, it won't work, and then it won't dissolve even in half centuries, and then all the soil will be polluted. And then if dealing with appropriately, that will be sink into the water and get water pollutions. And it will also, if people taking this kind of water, will affect our children's brain's development as well. So it's all due to this polluted reason. And the government actually tried to fix it, tried to do something. So this is like the CCTV news here. And later we can share with more people if they would like to know here. So this is the government tried to starting with how can the government in a local village and send a delegation to do the research and then take action. Alan is one of the delegation leader, visit the village. He is a bridge in between that agricultural department and the local village. He's an academic, educator. He did the research and have a questionnaire to ask the local village people in which area are the most important thing need to help, and then what kind of like budgeting they need to survive. And then he structured all this kind of topic and back to the government, and then to initiate and launch some policy like the finance lending, to lend them some money, to rebuild for their home, rebuild for their economy. And a lot of people say that, well, you can do P2P. This is very popular at this moment. And then you can borrow from different small financial institutions. However, Alan shared with me that if you are in outside China, in an international, more developed country, you will never know that some people is outside this kind of area. They are the leftover because they are old, more than like 60 years old, and or they're too young. It's like the little kid was dumped at home, and all the parents is actually went out in the Guangdong province factory to work, or those they can't read and or disabled. Those people is outside the financial area circle. The bank will not cover them. And even the small finance institution will not cover them. So they do need help. They belong to the basic finance coverage. So the government, the village government, and try to initiate for this project. So Alan is in the academic team.
Yes.
So Alan, if you're back, it's good, yes. We're talking about that, what you shared with me. Hey, Alan.
Hey,
yes.
sorry for the delay. I mean,
no problem.
Yeah.
No problem at all.
Yeah, I mean, in order to have a better signal and a voice delivery, I just shut off my video
Very
button
clever.
here.
Very
that
clever.
way, my voice will be clear.
Very clever.
So, yeah.
So now we need to answer some questions here. Remember, we're talking about is actually where exactly the problem. You mentioned about that and the current situation. Then what are the solutions? What's your suggestion for the government to help those need to help, and which is almost we get ignored for those groups? And what means inclusive finance for them? And how can we actually implement or educate the public to put much more concern to help them? So what's your suggestion and idea?
Yeah, great. There is a list of questions. It's first time for me to see here. That is great. But probably today, because of the time constraint, probably we're gonna answer one of them.
Just one of them.
Maybe probably, yeah, probably. I will be more interested in give the response to the question number 3. So what will be what is the solution from the side of the government?
Very
Actually,
good.
the respondent will be only one sentence, which is, we advocate that the governments should be playing the role of guidance. It is the role that the market should be playing, which is to lead the whole industry. So government guidance and the market leading, that will be the solution in general for the whole industry. And lots of China's problems and hot topics will be the same. In more detail, I would say from like you said, from top down, actually, those like, no matter the President Xi and the governor from the PBOC, the especially emphasize the role and the function that the green finance and green development should be like playing in the new future, especially considering the sustainable development for long run in China.
Yeah.
But actually, if you want to have those problems solved, you need to, I mean, assign some of those authorities and opportunities to the whole market. Let those market players to decide which will be the best solution. Like these days, there is a hot topic talking about one of those regulations released from the highest level of the National Council about the ceiling of the interest rate.
Yes.
So actually, if you're talking about the rural areas, it is the same thing. So lots of people saying that we can not access to the traditional financial system in the rural areas. So whenever we do the investigations there in those like remote area of those in China, no matter in the northwest or the west of China, we find that actually the infrastructure there is pretty good.
Yeah,
they all covered by internet, but still we need to promote the financial education there. So not only to those high level of those players in the finance industry, but to the bottom, to the mass, to every people here in the village. Let them know how to manage the risk by using the mobile lending or peer-to-peer lending. Let them be aware of what will be the opportunity and the risk in between. I mean, among those different financial products and services.
Excellent conclusions. It's excellent conclusions. If everybody find this today is a little bit short, and I again apologize for the internet connections. Is something like it's a kind of surprise for us. And then thank you for your patience. If we want to know more about like ESG education, inclusive finance, and also by learning the first-hand information and finance maybe have many good topics for you to come here to study today. So if you want to know more better and learn Mandarin, and at the same time to get the first-hand information to understand more about the China policy top down from Xi Jinping, like PBOC and CBIRC and more this kind of topic, come to join with us to try the lesson. And we have speakers like Alan, and in the ground, understand lots of information, would like to share with you the real case study. And then you can ask much more questions in his workshop. He is really the expert in this area, especially for the inclusive finance and impact investment and sustainable green finance. Alan, it's really our pleasure to have you today here. We still have a lot of questions we haven't answered today because this is only the second time in these 2 months. We have done the first ESG finance, and this is the second time. We'll bring with much more value content. Right. For our connection here today. So if all of you would like to further investigate more, to study more, and come to us. And also we have the third one coming soon. So Alan, thank you very much for your time today. And we overcome for all the challenges.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So everybody, thank you
welcome.
for your joining to us today. We'll keep it short, keep it in the high impact one. If you want to know more, please come to Finance Mandarin. We're happy to introduce more China insight for you. Thank you for joining today, and we will play this event back. And if you miss it, and you can study that again. Thank you, Alan. I'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Vian. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
You too.